So again, I'm Leanne Murphy, and I am a consultant with Lithos Consulting, a company that works with HR and organizational development. I have the privilege of working with business acceleration systems with Gary Perkins and the team over there, and coaching Mark and Lee are on that team as well, and working with several small businesses, and that's been so much fun. But one of the things that we hear over and over and over again when we're working with entrepreneurs is, okay, my biggest asset is my biggest headache and my biggest worry, and that's employees. And that's probably true whether you're a three-person shop or you have hundreds of employees. And so we decided to put on this HR Summit. The good news for you is it's not just me. We have a panel of folks that are going to be talking to you throughout the morning and going through this and talking about some of the things that they use in their businesses. And so I would like to thank them for being here. We have Brooke Taylor with Royal Martin, HR Manager, Kyra Turner with Turner & Turner Contracting, Adam Rubin with Southern Textile Services, and then live via video, John Bradford with Profiles International is also going to talk to us this morning about what they do there and some of the tips and tools that he can share with about selection assessments and those kind of tools. But the biggest asset that we have here this morning is sitting at your table, the people that are across from you and you, because what I know is that most of us know what we need to be doing. It's getting it on the table and finding tools and tips and techniques that help us, and sometimes it's just having somebody confirm to us that we're on the right path, that that's a good thing to involve and get it included. So we're going to have you participate quite a bit this morning with us. So welcome. In absentia, Jim Clinton is the Executive Director of Cletus. I do want to mention Jim and all the great work he does. Gary Perkins, you'll see him in and out. He's refreshing coffee right now, is the Business Acceleration System Executive Director. I've introduced Brooke, if you'll wave at everybody so they'll know who you are. And then Adam, the owner from Southern Textiles, and Kyra Turner. Those are three of your panelists that are going to be here this morning. So, job one. If you're at a small table, like this little table here, and you guys, if you will partner together, and then the big tables, so you guys are going to partner together here, and then we'll get, do you mind, can I pick on you for a minute? Can I ask you to come up here with this group so we'll have a bigger group? And then if you two want to partner with this table over here, so we have some larger groups rather than just 3 or 4 people, because what I want you to do is, first of all, in that group, so these 2 small tables, this table, these 2 tables, and this larger table, if you will appoint a spokesperson, and feel free to move chairs, move tables, whatever you need to do to get close to one another, appoint a table spokesperson. That's job one. So when you have your table spokespersons raise your hand so I'll know we've got one. Do we have a table spokesperson? Yours is standing up? I love that. Got one. Do we have one here? Excellent. All right. So right off the bat, I have a gift for you for being the brave spokesperson, because you know how it is. If you're that person that's willing to do it, you get thrown to the wolves and it's never any reward. So here's a reward. There you go, for being a leader. You get a reward right off the bat. This is a great book called Leadership Charisma. It's written by the founders of Profiles International, and I really think it's so practical. So here's your assignment, and you don't have an option to accept it. This is not Mission Impossible, okay? So you don't have an option here. There is no if you choose to accept it. The table spokesperson needs a new pair of shoes for work. Now, I don't care, table spokespersons, be as creative as you want to be about what your job is and what kind of shoes you need. I don't care. The more creative you are, the more fun it's going to be. She or he cannot in any way participate in the selection of those shoes or the purchase of those shoes. You have 5 minutes to get all the information you need and to make a plan for your team to find and purchase shoes. The spokesperson cannot go out and help with the finding and purchase of the shoes. but they are shoes for the spokesperson, for work. Spokespersons, be as creative as you choose to be. I need you to make 2 pieces of paper, just like these 2 on the wall. So you have 3 pieces of paper. Don't waste one because the one is for use later. Don't throw one away. So on one, I want you to write information needed and capture all the information you need to get in order to buy the right pair of shoes for your spokesperson. On the second one, I want your action plan. What are you going to do so that your team effectively, in the most efficient and effective way, goes out and finds the right pair of shoes for your table spokesperson? And remember, once you get this information, your table spokesperson can no longer participate. So you've got to think it all the way through to the logical end. So the spokesperson is doing the writing? No, the spokesperson has every opportunity to assign a secretary. That's what you get for being the boss. Okay? But you need 2 sheets. Action to be taken, information needed, and I'm going to give you 5 minutes to get going and to create your, and the countdown has begun. So 2 pieces of information, 2 sheets of information we need from each of you. Yes. Yes. Yeah, exactly. So they need to know they need to make list all the information they have to have. Right. And then what are they going to do to get the right pair of shoes back to you? Yeah, work related. You have 4 minutes.
I would say 100.
Once you've got your information that you need, make a plan. How's your team going to get the right pair of shoes back to the owner? Three and a half minutes. Go Joe. Two and a half minutes. 2 minutes. Ah. 60 seconds. Okay. 30 seconds. All right, time's up. There's not an electric shock or anything, so if you need to finish up, go ahead. I want you to find a place on the wall to put your two. There are Post-it things, so just wipe them really good at the top so they'll stick up. Just put them on the wall somewhere. Put both yours together. We're going to be talking about these throughout the morning. Good morning. We'll rearrange again. We should just find a place and we'll be great. All right, so I hope you can kind of guess where we're going with those, right? And we're going to come back to those in a little bit, but I want to welcome our first panelist for today and let her share a little bit with you about this part of it, this search for the right person and the right job. So Brooke Taylor with HR manager with Royal Martin Companies. Y'all welcome her for me, please.
One thing that I want to talk a little bit about today is the hiring process that we utilize. And I understand that some companies are smaller and others are larger, but oftentimes we may be hiring for one job, one person. But the hiring process that we use is consistent. So I'm going to give you a little bit of history. The primary position that we hire for company-wide is for production team members. Those are the folks that actually produce our products at our manufacturing plants. And historically, we have held job fairs, and we still do today, but we've changed the way that we do them. At one time, job fairs were open to the public. We would advertise in the paper. Folks would come to our facility, they would take assessments, they would fill out an application, and an average job fair would draw in about 150 applicants. Reality was these folks weren't necessarily qualified to do the task that we had. We gave them two assessments, a mathematical and a mechanical. The mathematical assessment was math on a 6th grade level, and many folks could not pass it. And through the years, we realized that our assessments weren't validated to our position, which could get us in a bind legally. Also, these job fairs took a ton of time. The night of the job fair, we spent about 5 hours. Folks would take the test. We would go through quick pre-screening interviews. And then the back end of this, you have to send no-go letters. We had to call other people in for panel interviews, which last approximately 45 minutes to an hour. So in 2013, we changed the way that we did job fairs at our Oakdale facility, and we began utilizing Workkeys Assessments. We had several people come on site, look at our jobs, and make a recommendation of what assessments we needed with the scores that were needed to do these particular jobs. This process brought our applicant pool from about 150 per job fair to 30, which seems like, well, who are you going to hire? We would hire maybe 5 people out of a pool of 150. So we changed to the Workkeys. We draw in about 30 people, and we're hiring about 10 out of a group of 30, which is excellent. And the Workkeys assessments have done a lot of things. Applicants are going to take these tests. Some people are doing it right out of high school. Workkeys are required for students that are graduating. So while people do not have to take the ACT, it's not mandatory, they do have to take Workkeys assessments. So for people that have graduated recently, they already have these scores. But for folks that have not taken the Workkeys, this is a time commitment for them. We utilize 3 assessments for our job of production team member: math, locating information, and reading. And those are basic skills that you need to do most of our jobs at Royal Martin. They have to spend their time. It's about 4 hours to take those 3 assessments. And one huge benefit is they're validated. So legally, we are protected by using these assessments. Yep. We have had representatives from ACT come on site. They've spent days looking at every element of our job, and they made a recommendation. You need a 4 or a silver in locating information to do this task. And they're certified to do that. The assessments that we were using before, we thought they were a good idea. And so while our process wasn't bad, it has greatly improved. And we're not having people come in that say, I want a job right now. I need a job. Are you going to hire me? Because I got to go to work. You know, we have people that want a career, and that's been extremely beneficial. We do have a relatively low turnover at the majority of our facilities. Oakdale is one of them. But that has been a huge tool. We have a lengthy hiring process. I'll walk through it with you guys. Someone submits an application or a resume. We do a pre-screen interview that's typically 10 to 15 minutes long. If that person passes that part of the interview process, they come in for a panel interview. A panel interview typically consists of a person from Human Resources, the applicant, the supervisor, and a peer. And all 4 people in this interview have input on the hiring process. If the person passes the panel interview, like I said, that's typically 45 minutes to an hour, we do reference checks on them. We do those internally. We call former employers, former supervisors. We never utilize family or friends. You know, it doesn't give us a clear picture of the applicant. If that person passes that step, they could go for another interview if it's needed, depending on the position. We would call and make a contingent job offer. That person would have drug screen and physical. And then if that portion is passed, they would have an official job offer. So I think our hiring process lasts about a month per candidate, which is a long time, but it's worth it because the time that you spend to interview, to hire, and to train, it goes miles. You know, if you hire the first person that walks in the door, or you collect a stack of resumes, and when you have an open position, you go through people and you take somebody because you need somebody to fill a seat on the bus, you're not necessarily getting the best candidate. And we've learned that over time. You know, there have been job fairs where we've had 150 people come and we've literally hired one person. and you're extremely disappointed. You know, you've spent time, you've utilized resources, and you hire one person at the end of the day. But that one person was a qualified applicant that was going to stay with our organization, instead of just having somebody that walks in the door. Another thing that we have utilized is the Louisiana Workforce Commission office. I know we have a couple of people here today, but any position that we ever have open, we post with that office. They have multiple avenues that they utilize. It's posted on their website. They may put a flyer on a billboard, or when someone walks in the door and is looking for a job, they can offer whatever position we have open to them if they're qualified. And that's been beneficial because it's another pre-screening tool. And it literally takes 5 to 10 minutes. You can swing by their office, you can send them an email, give them a call. And if you're an employer that is set up with the Louisiana Workforce Commission, you can post it on the website yourself. So, you know, we have used a variety of different tools. To say that we use one thing for every position, that's not necessarily a true statement, but our hiring process is consistent for every position. And having a consistent hiring process has protected us, because every single person has gone through the exact same screening process. So we haven't been unfair to one and favored another. Everyone goes through the same process. And so that's been beneficial. You know, we've had people question us, you know, why do I have to come back for another interview? And oftentimes people may get frustrated. Well, I'm not coming back. I don't want to. Well, that's probably not a candidate that we want on our team. And you know the people that really, really want to be part of your organization because they're willing to spend the time. You know, they're willing to come in and talk with people. They're willing to fill out an application. And you would be surprised how many people don't want to. You know, you're asking for 30 minutes, and all of those things are clues. You know, the Workkeys Assessments, like I mentioned, if someone doesn't want to spend the time to test, do they really want a job? One thing that we utilize 2 places for the Workkeys Assessments, the technical colleges, and also some of the Louisiana Workforce Commission offices are set up to give that assessment. And not everybody is fresh out of high school. So some people, it has been a long time since they have tested for anything, and you're asking them to do a 4-hour assessment. So not everybody passes the first time, and that's okay. The first time someone takes the Workkeys assessment, it's at no cost to them. But if they don't get the required scores for the positions that we have open, they have the option to retest. And many of our technical colleges will do like refresher courses on math or reading, and it helps. So they may not pass and get the scores that we need, but the next time after they retest, they do. So the cost to a candidate to retest for one of these assessments, I believe, is $7. I don't think that price has changed.
It's not very expensive.
So it's not excluding anybody. They have the option to retest, and maybe they come back in a year for another job fair. Or maybe they do some homework on their end and retest later.
You mentioned the technical college.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, they offer that to Royal Martin exclusively, or does it come in for how?
No, it is not just for Royal Martin. We do have a very good relationship with the technical colleges in town, but let's say that I'm just a job seeker. I could go in and I need the Workkeys assessment. I can walk into the technical college and set an appointment because the testing does take time. And I can go and take the assessment, and they will give me my scores. So these scores don't just have to be used for Royal Martin. I think Gilchrist is using it for some positions that they have open. And so most of the time what I'm seeing now when we get applications or resumes, folks are attaching these scores.
And we do utilize the Workkeys, but I was talking about the additional, you said they can get that additional support if they don't pay that.
Yes.
That's it.
Mhm.
No, that was.
Yeah, they will do that for folks that are looking to increase those scores. And I think that the refresher course is about an hour and a half, and it's just in an effort to help these folks, you know, raise their scores. Not everybody is a good test taker. So,
Any questions?
yeah.
I've got 2 questions.
Uh-huh.
When you're calling for personal references of former employers, how do get true information out of them?
Well, when we do reference checks, you take it with, I don't want to say take it with a grain of salt, but we ask every single person the same exact questions. That way, everyone has the exact same reference check. So we start off and, you know, their name, their position, what is their relationship? And if somebody puts a family or a friend, they're going to say, oh, that's my buddy, or oh, that's my nephew. And, you know, you kind of walk through the process, but you realize I can't use that as a reference. Most of the time doing reference checks, people are more honest than you would think. They give you more information than you may necessarily need, but it's good to have, you know, good and bad. And most of the time when it is not a good reference, you know within the first 2 sentences. So, you know, that is one part of our process. If for some reason we get someone that has maybe not a positive reference, we look at that. And maybe we do 3 references for each person. So we may call that person back and say, hey, we need a couple more references. And we may extend that.
My second question is, with such a lengthy process, 30-day process, do you feel like you lose many applicants because they just can't afford, good applicants, can't afford to wait around 30 days because other opportunities pop up in that period for them?
You know, I don't think that we lose applicants because we communicate with them. So throughout the process, we don't just interview someone and say, okay, thanks. We keep them up to date. So through that 30 days, I probably talk with an applicant 3 to 4 times and let them know this is the next step of the process. This is where we're at. So I think that just by communicating, they know where they're at. And I would say 75% of applicants are currently working, and probably 25% are unemployed. And that's beneficial. You know, they're looking for a better opportunity, they're looking to learn, they're looking to grow. And so there are very few people that we lose because of our process.
And that was my question, your retention. As a result of this process, you just stated that 75% of the individuals that have gone through this process are still employed with you all?
Well,
Or is that?
that's for our applicant pool.
Applicant pool.
Yes.
But for the retention of your employees, since you've done this process, how has that been?
So just speaking for our Oakdale, Louisiana plant, our turnover as it stands today is 2.75%, which in manufacturing is excellent. So we have been very, very successful in retaining the right people. I would say that half of that has left voluntarily and half involuntary. So we have 175 employees at our Oakdale facility, and we're a little under 3%. Yeah.
How would you, is there a direction you can point us in as far as, I mean, we get those Workkeys assessments, how do you know what numbers we need for the job?
That is where ACT comes in, and Leanne can probably shed a little bit more light, but they come in and spend days looking at your positions, and they make a recommendation.
Yeah, ACT certifies job profilers to come in, and they will shadow the person in the position, an incumbent in that position, 1 or 2 of them. They make a huge task list of every task that they do, every task they can capture. Then they come back and meet with a group of incumbents, a representative group of the people in that job in your company, and they do a skill analysis. Now, for some companies, you may not have that option because perhaps you only have 1 person in that, and you don't have enough for a statistically valid assessment. And so ACT does have a library of jobs, and you can select a job that's comparable, and that's a starting point. And for small employers, that provides you the level of protection that you really need. For a larger employer, they have to profile a job specific to their company because they have an adequate number to do that.
What does ACT stand for?
Something college, American College Testing, Collegiate Testing. It is the ACT, like kids take out of college, it's the same
ACT.
company,
Oh, gosh.
ACT. It is the college testing company, but they also do Workkeys.
Is there a fee to get that?
For the job profile, yes, it's a pretty hefty fee to have them come out and do
Well,
that.
you'd have to do it, but to have access to that library of
No, there is not a fee for access to the library, and I will mention that CLETA does have some grant funds currently to fund some job profiles locally. So if you're interested in that, you can ask CLETA about it. Okay?
Okay.
All right, thank you, Brooke.
Thanks, y'all.
Thank you very much. All right.